Well, here we are again on our podcast for women veterans, for women who have served service scars and second chances. And I am so thrilled today to have Kaitlin Clark with us. Oh my gosh, what a blessing it has been to get to know her. Kaitlin was a weapons specialist, which is aircraft maintenance for bombs in the United States Air Force. She also worked for the Human Resources, and I'm going to have her tell you all about that whole journey and what that was like. But welcome, Kaitlin. I'm so glad. I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
this is great. So, Kaitlin, I was not in the military, but I am so grateful for your service. Thank you so much. Tell me, how did you come to joining the military, and a little bit about how you get into being uh, a working with bombs and all that, a weapons specialist. Tell us about that.
Yes, absolutely. So I was actually working in Medicare, a medical position. So I was a CNA specialist before I joined the military.
Okay.
And I was working around elderly and also in hospitals, particularly with end of life care.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and so I really wanted to kind of expand a little bit more. And I was thinking about going to school and getting some education under my belt. And so I figured joining the Air Force was a good option for me.
Yeah, awesome. So, did you choose this particular line, or were you going to go a different direction? How did you get into this? Why did you choose the Air Force?
So the Air Force pushes education a lot on their workers, basically on the people that join. They really do support education. They support having some type of educational background while you're in, so that that you go up in the ranks and stuff like that. But the job that I picked, I did not personally pick it myself, actually.
Oh, okay.
The recruiter was pushing for these slots to be filled. And so I didn't really kind of think about it. I just kind of said, okay, okay. And I kind of
Oh,
stepped into this type of position blindly a little bit, because they
okay.
do have a lot of people that come and go and stuff like that.
And that is some advice I may as well ask you now while you're on that topic that you have for others that might be joining the military, is to think about what they want to do and maybe research a little bit what the options are. Is that right?
Exactly. When you're talking to a recruiter, the first thing that you need to keep in mind is the best interest for you. The individual joining, this is a sacrifice. Just like, they say this all the time. It is a sacrifice. It is something that you need to consider. Sacrifices such as how you wear your hair, how you dress, your lifestyle drastically changes when you are part of something very big and important, because you're representing the country. You're representing not just you, but you're representing the United States government. You're representing a branch of service. So that is also part of the sacrifice as well. But when you are making these decisions, you need to consider what is your interest, really, not the position that the recruiter wants to fill, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. And I'm not sure everybody knows that you can actually be more specific about what you want. And I'm sure the recruiter would rather have somebody come in saying, I'm only joining if I get to go this direction, than to have nobody join, right?
Yes, and it is also about availability. That is something else that a lot of individuals need to consider too. Straight up ask the recruiter, what kind of availability do you have? What are the jobs that need to be filled right now at this very moment? But also ask him, ask them, he or she, what other availability do they have, so that you don't feel pressured into one particular area or one particular job.
Okay, so once you got in, tell me about what was it like? What was your job like? What was the climate like? I have a lot of women veterans who had some major issues in the military with being taken advantage of, being sexually harassed, and every branch there seems to be worse in some areas than others. So, what was your experience like? Did you like your job and how did it go?
I really enjoyed the mechanical side to my first job. I enjoyed, I enjoyed a lot of the mechanical aspects of my job, but however, it is a manly job, and a lot of times there are some moments where you could experience, especially if you're a female. um, it is very well known to experience, um, how do I say this? To experience tension between coworkers, especially because of the type of job. There's a lot of boundaries there with that. There's a lot of training that goes into that. There's a lot of, you're going to be away from your family, you're going to be away from your spouse for a lot of times. So there is a lot of adultery that happens in this career field. I will say that. And it goes unnoticed. I feel like it definitely does go unnoticed. And with that being said, too, one thing to keep in mind is that we're all equal. There is nobody better than each other. And I feel, that's a job that is very difficult when you're a female, when you're doing a job like that, basically.
So you were doing mechanical work, like fix it kind of stuff?
Um, Missile moves. So we would take missiles down. And if another group, so avionics, it's not just one particular group. So like there's three different groups that come into play here. So like avionics, crew chiefs, and then you have weapons. And the weapons people, which is me, armament specialist, they come in and they remove the weapons off of the aircraft and they perform maintenance. So whatever is happening when the pilots come back down, they do the checks. So depending on what is wrong with the aircraft when they went up for their flights is what we will do, how we will respond.
Wow, wow. What that, I mean, where's the transferable skills with that when you get out? Or were you able to change to something else before you got out?
So yes, I did end up transferring jobs while I was in the service, and luckily for me, I was able to do that because I also do. There is such a thing when you're in the military and you do have family members to be Q coded, which I was. And basically, when you're Q coded, which means you have a family member who is special needs. So I do have a child that is special needs. And in some cases, you are able to transfer jobs and get into a little bit of a lighter job so that you can be there for your family. You can still work, you can still do your job, you can still be in the Air Force, if that makes sense.
Okay. Wow, wonderful. That's great. So, how long did you serve, and then what led you to leave the military?
So wait, can you ask again?
Sure, sure, no worries. How long were you in the military, and why
Oh,
did you decide to leave?
I was in the military for 6 years. I did a 6 year contract. And when I was leaving, I experienced a tremendous hardship. Um, one of my family members got cancer.
Oh,
And at the time, it was very unexpected. It was it was an unexpected event that occurred, and that was why I left the military, was to come home and take care of my family. And um, that was a decision that I had to make. Those are times when you have to make those kinds of decisions. Do you want to
yeah.
stay or do you want to go? So
Oh, how painful. That must have been a hard decision to make. And so what's it been like for you since you got out? And how has that gone for you and what are you doing now?
I will say that in certain circumstances for veterans like myself, it has been very hard. Sometimes not knowing all of your resources when you're getting out, when you're leaving the service. Sometimes you feel empty-handed, and a lot of times veterans like myself can slip through the cracks and experience a lot of hardship. And it has been very hard for me, especially because I was homeless for 2 years.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. That should never ever be. That's why we started homeless programs for homeless veterans. I'm sorry that you went through that. Tell me what that's been like and what are your needs now?
So um, needs now. Well, it varies by state, to be honest. It does. It varies by state, it varies by county, depending on your location, because you always do have access to the VA, but the VA also has to like partner with different organizations in the county and also in the state to provide those resources. So if you are in a rural area where you are very far from like the city, or where there are a lot of different agencies around, it is very hard to find housing, and it is very hard to find resources that are going to work for you and your family.
Yes. Yeah. How difficult. And you are living in what state now?
I am living in the state of Montana.
And are you finding help there? Are you finding that there are good resources for you in Montana?
Yes, so Montana has a lot for veterans, actually. Montana is a very good state to be if you are a veteran and you are
Nice.
experiencing hardship right now.
Nice.
They have resources like they have an agency called VOA, which is Volunteers of America. They have resources such as VNN, Veteran Network. I can't remember what else it stands for, but they do have a lot of support over here, and they provide temporary housing for veterans who are looking for permanent housing. There are also programs such as HUD-VASH that provide financial assistance for veterans, especially if you are not working and you don't have a job. They provide that type of financial support when you get on your feet and you get into a housing situation. And with that being said, when you get into HUD-VASH, once you complete that program for an entire year, and you can also advance up, and can help with um, they can help you with buying a home in the future. There are other programs that extend from that and branch off to help you with
Yeah.
that.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That is really super. And I know a lot of those programs. I wasn't familiar with the Volunteers of America helping veterans, but there are fortunately more services now out there for women veterans. But I'll tell you, we started the women's support group. Who's spreading the word on this? But you heard about it in some way that I don't know how it even got there, but thank God. And what I've learned is that when I was looking for pictures to do the marketing to let women veterans know that we're starting this podcast and we got this support group, I every time I would type in pictures of veterans or even women veterans, men veterans would come up. And it was very obvious to me that you ladies who have served are not being or never have been recognized in the way that you should or appreciated. So that's part of why I wanted to put this out there. Another thing that I had learned as I was doing some research, my husband and I go to Myrtle Beach for a couple months every when it gets cold here in Wisconsin, which it was 50 below here and 50 above in Myrtle Beach. So that was cool. But I met a lady named Bambi who was a Vietnam veteran who enlisted uh, when I was graduating from high school in the 70s. And she does a lot of work with MST, military sexual trauma, which, as you were kind of alluding to, adultery, but some of it is uninvited adultery, where women are being sexually harassed, sexually intimidated, or sexually assaulted in the military. And she said there was over 80% of women in the military have experienced some of that. Hence, the actual new diagnostic term for VA disability is MST, military sexual trauma. So, there is more resources, more things coming out. I'm involved in a couple of female veteran retreats that they're doing more of for healing for women. So, I mean, are you seeing that there are more since you got out, that things are kind of growing a little bit more for women veterans?
I think that there's room for more growth when it comes to what you're asking. I feel like there's more room to expand that. But I do feel like there are some programs available, and but I feel like there's a lot more room to expand that, especially for women in my position.
Yes.
Who have
Yes,
experienced it.
I totally agree. And being you're a single mom with a child, right?
Yes.
And are you finding
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, there's gaps in services for single parent veteran women. I'm guessing. I know from our program that we had, there just isn't a whole lot out there, is there?
Right. That's right.
Yeah, because I know that at least at our VA uh, services here for homeless veterans, they don't have much for single women, or even couples who might be homeless. It's mainly for single men that we have around here. So I really appreciate your time that you have come. And one thing to remind women or anybody, be sure if you're thinking of joining the military, to advocate for yourself what you want to go into. And then once reception. Oh, lost reception there for a moment. Hopefully that will be it, because I wanted to wrap this up. Are you still getting reception, Kaitlin?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Um, I wanted to wrap up, and I am going to probably make you the focus point here as we close with what you now tell me. How did you get to be singing the national anthem at places like you have done in the past? And I'm looking at a Facebook post here from Nellis Air Force Base where USA men's national team invited Nellis's own Airman First Class Kaitlin Clark to sing the national anthem. See, I cry even talking about it. At last night's game, A1C Clark moved the crowd with her amazing voice and made Nellis proud. So, how did you come to singing the national anthem? How did they discover you?
So there's a singing group that I was part of, and there were like a few of us where we would volunteer ourselves to sing at events. And Nellis Air Force Base is a very big area, obviously, because they have the city of Las Vegas there, and they have a lot of events that happen on the outside of the base, but also there are colonels retiring. There are change of commands happening where they need singers to sing the national anthem. So for this event, this was an event that I really wanted to sing at and I really wanted to be part of. And the NBA was there as well. So it was a very
Wow.
it was a very important event, and I was very honored to sing there. That was a very memorable moment for me.
Well, and I am honored to have you sing on this podcast. I know people will be massively moved. So I am going to make you big and put me aside so people don't want to watch me cry while you're
Aw,
singing the national anthem.
okay.
Go ahead, Kaitlin.
I'm gonna stand up if that's okay.
Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, no guns bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Woo! That was unbelievable. Holy cow. So I want to know why you are not making a whole ton of money singing. Oh my goodness. That was amazing, Kaitlin. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. And before we wrap up, I just want to tell you how excited I am about your book that's going to be coming out at some point, and it will be under a different name. But the name of it, if you'd like to share your shirt before we go so people can look for it. What is it? I can't read it. I'm too.
A twin flame journey.
Oh, and I'm excited. If you want to talk about it, but we're going to just do another video about that. But
Okay.
if you want to talk about it, you can now, or we can talk about it at our next video. What do you want?
Next video is fine.
Next video. Yeah, landing on the wow, that was just amazing. The national anthem was beautiful. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for your service. And I will be looking forward to spending more time with you. And if you are interested in joining us on our Sunday night women's event or women's support group, I would love to have any of you. You can go to our just go to my website, LindaLarsonSchlitz.com. I will have
Absolutely.
a place you can go on there. And if you want to see Kaitlin, go to my YouTube channel, which is again YouTube, Linda Larson Schlitz, and go to the podcast Service Scars and Second Chances. And I will have that posted. Be watching for us. And boy, I'm gonna do a clip of that song, and it'll probably go. Might be the only thing in my life that I ever get to go all over the place, but I think it will. Thank you again, Kaitlin. God bless you. Our prayers are with you.
God bless you too.
Bye bye.